Okay, so the sun's going down, but while this is in my mind, I thought another opportunity to add to the Comedy of Errors playlist. I'm scared to think that this might be making more of these, making a playlist or cataloging these instances, these scenarios, maybe making more happen. My place backs up to the gun club. Wednesday nights is rifle night. I am continuing to try and fix that little backhoe. It's just typical shakedown stuff. It hadn't been run for a long time, and I picked it up for a good price, and so I've been using it right away. And we had that, hose failure, and then I had swing cylinder. So there is a hydraulic cylinder to my left when I'm running it, and there's a big giant bike chain that loops around and goes, from one hydraulic cylinder around a pinion to another hydraulic cylinder in this way. And when you take up the chain with one cylinder to one way, it swings your boom that direction, and the opposite takes your boom the other way. It's called the swing cylinders. There's two of them, and one of them was puking oil out of an air vent, and so it had a compromised seal. So I took it out of the machine. At the point that I'm at, I've got all four posts on one side, and I've got to reset my lifting arrangement and pick the building up and do some other stuff. So I had a few days to take the machine and have it be down and not be able to dig with it. So I took my cylinder out and I took it apart. This is your body. There's a variety of ways to put together a hydraulic cylinder, but this is the body. You can see it's green. It's the outside case, and there's a major seal that drags up and down. This is almost like an engine cylinder with a piston in it, but it's hydraulic. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if we can find the bad spot. There it is, right there in the middle. I got to a point, it was all oily, but I got it out of the machine, and I took it apart to a point where it could be seen, the inside could be seen, and I went to the local construction John Deere dealer. They do the yellow stuff, the big ticket items. It's $145 an hour for their shop time. And I said, you're around the corner, if I bring this to you and you can see inside, can we save the cost of breaking it down? Oh yeah. So I took it up there and I showed it to the guy, and he saw what I saw here, and he said, it might need to be honed. You're going to spend some extra time, and then you put it all, you hone it like you would an engine cylinder, which is it's difficult to describe. It's like three small windshield wiper blade assemblies. Actually, I'm right here with the car. Essentially, it's an assembly of three blades like this here. The whole thing is a lot smaller, but the surface of it is a stone, like a whetstone would be, or it's abrasive. And there's three of them. Well, maybe four sometimes. I'm not sure. Anyway, they are spring-loaded. So you compress the whole thing down, and they're all running along parallel with one another. Then you put it inside of the cylinder that you want to open up or take some meat off. A true, straight, perfect precision cylinder that you want to take some surface thickness off the inside, and you let it expand. And so then the blade can ride along the wall of that cylinder. All of them can ride along the wall, and they're free to pivot in the center, so they can find a natural level, basically, but they have the pressure driven out, and you take some material off. But they wanted a deposit, and it was going to be like $500, $600 that they expected in terms of time. So I went to the green John Deere dealer, who has an $85 an hour labor rate, because they handle your lawn tractor and your agricultural machinery, and it's less specialized. They need less overhead gantry cranes, less heavy-duty equipment, because things are smaller generally. And the local place, like I was saying, with $145 an hour, they just put up a new excavating dealership location. So it's like a big, beautiful car dealership, but for excavators and bulldozers. So they have some overhead to take care of. So I went down to the shop that could do the same project for me, but at a reduced labor rate by almost half, which was obviously very worthwhile for running around. For the cost of running around, they're just 2 or 3 times as far away. But the kid took one look at this and said, hey, that by the time you open up this entire cylinder to where the lowest points of that scarring are smooth again, you've compromised the geometry here so much that your seals, and I had purchased a seal kit, which is what you get. This doesn't get any larger, so it just doesn't seal well against the inside surface. So essentially, this is fucked. And this is, I said, what is that, like fabricating tube? Or he said, well, it starts like that, but it's honed inside. It's a specialty thing. You're kind of foobar. A new hydraulic cylinder for this machine is like $1,700. So time you pay tax on that and you ship it, and I'm sure it was $17,995. It'd be a $2,000 affair to get it replaced. And I spent $1,400 on this backhoe in total. So we're not doing that. However, happily, I had a local hydraulic manufacturer, and I had met the man, so I went over there. He was close to me, and I let this. I took this stuff out, and I said, I need something like this. It doesn't have to be threaded, doesn't have to be anything. It just has to meet these physical requirements. And he went in the back, and he came out with 18 inches of pre-honed material, stock, because they make and ship small batch, it's not custom, but small batch manufacture, bespoke hydraulic cylinders for different situations. So he took an overall length measurement, and he parted off a piece for me on the lathe and put a little lead taper on the inside edge there, and $40 for the material and the processing, and same day as while you wait. So I can take my parts back and have they'll probably put, see, if they had been able to hone this, they'd be honing it, and then they'd be cleaning up both of the outside ends where it's rusty, and by the time you spend all that time, there's an hour or two extra there. Now this here is a fresh boy, and he won't need any of that. So I expect with 2 hours at $85 that we could put this all back together again, and a $100 seal kit, and $40 for the tube. So it's less than $350 versus, they wanted like $600, and then it was $100 for the seal kit. So, $350 instead of $700 is a big no-brainer. So that one had a happy ending. However, I spent the whole day running around, and simultaneously, I have a chipping hammer, a Milwaukee M18 SDS hammer drill that I can put a chisel in and set to hammer only. It's not here now, but I had it open on the bench here for 6 weeks, laying here. In fact, I bought a special, I wanted these anyway, but a nice little set of Precision Torx screwdrivers to be able to take it apart. And I'd done some repairs to my Milwaukee tools before, and I could speak relatively highly about the ability to get parts. But there was a back order on that switch, and when I finally got it, it wasn't clearly going to just bolt up or, clearly swap out, which the other repairs that I have done have been a real easy affair like that. So, it was all opened up and I had the new switch, and it didn't appear to be something that was going to work. So I took it to the local electronics repair because I thought maybe he could decipher the Sanskrit, electronic symbols that were on it. They're just a couple, and maybe there'd be enough there for him to make an educated guess on how it needed to go back together again, but he didn't feel comfortable with it. So I went back to the retailer that has a Milwaukee contract that's just across the street from that hydraulics manufacturer that made me that piece of pipe. And this, like I said, was happening back to back today, so I was back and forth between the two. But I stopped in there and said, you got the switch in for me, thanks so much. It took quite a while, it wasn't your fault. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know if this is going to work for a repair. I can't make heads or tails of it. And he said, if you can just put the tool back together again, we can send it to Milwaukee as a factory, as a warranty claim, and have it just fixed. And that doesn't take hardly any time. He's like, I'm sorry I didn't mention that before. So right there in the store, he had a Precision Torx screwdriver. I put the thing back together again. And I had a battery with it just for the electronics repair guy in case he wanted to see if he'd made any headway. And so I said, wouldn't it be funny if we slapped the battery on and it went back to working again? Because that had been the issue. Intermittent trigger failure to the point where the trigger didn't do anything. Just slap the battery on and fire it up. So I couldn't believe my luck because it was right on the heels of getting a custom piece of hydraulic cylinder tube cut, made to order while you wait. But I took it because I didn't feel like sending it to Milwaukee if it's running. But shortly thereafter, it stopped working again. So I took it right back and we did send it out for warranty. It was a really weird day. Spent the whole thing. Normally would have been able to charge $350 for my time for the day, but this is a lost day. I put probably 100 miles on my car. I got everything oily, greasy. I was in and out of shops, back and forth, round and around, several places, several times. The same place several times, annoyingly. One end all the way through town where there's road construction just to get to the bank to take out cash, to come back and pay cash for something that at a place where they didn't take a credit card. And you just blow that stuff out into the ether as a small business. And nobody ever sees it. And when clients and stuff give you a hard time or want to know where you were, which this isn't some sort of vague book post, that hasn't happened lately, but it does stick in my mind. So we're making ourselves a nice long playlist of all these weird days that just take forever to get to the bottom of a problem. And you usually uncover another one on the way. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see ya. There's little 7 pants. Oh.